What's going on, FAU fans? Welcome back to the Inside the Burrow podcast presented by FAU Owl's Nest. I am your host, Kevin Fielder, joined by Mike Birdman, the non-media member,
Yeah, I don't want to
his
wear that
title
media
so
tag.
eloquently says. But I will. And we're joined by the man who led, I guess, one of the greatest, NCAA, what do they call it, rebuilding jobs, in the sense of taking over Gannon, winning 32 games a year after winning three. Former Nova Southeastern assistant coach, man of many, titles, but currently FAU men's basketball assistant coach Jordan Fee. Jordan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, guys. I appreciate you having me.
I am really excited for this one, and I think there's probably no better place to start than you were a Division II head coach and you chose to take an assistant coaching job at FAU. What played into that decision? And when Coach Jacobs gave you the call, what were the, initial reactions to being offered this job?
When I first got the call, it wasn't that. It was not an easy decision. There was so much. I think people think these moves are, for lack of a better word, they think they're maybe sexy or something. And the truth is, there's just logistically so many things that go into these moves. And they're difficult, especially when you're moving across, you've got a wife and you've got a house and you've got a life. And when you're leaving a place that you loved, like Gannon University. Erie is my hometown. I was born in Erie, grew up just down the road in a town called Grove City. And we built something I was very proud of there. I think we did it the right way. So it was difficult. What we had in the guys we'd signed a bunch of high school guys early. What we had returning, I felt really good about it. So difficult to leave in that sense. And then the second, I'd say when I got the call from John, we were right in the midst of an Elite Eight. We were trying to fit. So he was courteously kind of told me, hey, let's talk after this thing ends. And unfortunately it ended, earlier than we had wanted it to. But the truth was I was so hyper focused on what we had going at Gannon and trying to win a national championship that kind of put this on the back burner. But also these decisions obviously have to be made quickly. So fast forward though, it ended up being a no-brainer for me, difficult to leave. I love the position I was in. I love being a head coach. I think it's for me from a leadership perspective. I felt very comfortable in that role, but I'd known Jacobs for 15 years. I saw FAU before FAU was a national brand. We've scrimmaged FAU. I knew TA. I knew the players. I think the makeup of the school. We lived right down the road in Fort Lauderdale by the sea when I was at Nova. So just hyper familiar with the area. And to me, I knew it was going to be a difficult decision, but one that I had to say yes to.
It's a great job, but it's like a crazy career, right? You were before Gannon. You were at Gannon 1 year, right?
Yeah, not even a full year.
Before that, you were at Nova. You won a national championship there. So you actually moved twice back and forth, right? And that's got to be insane, man.
Yeah, just a lot of just a lot of moving parts. Had I known, obviously, that I was coming back here, I wouldn't have sold my home. I've joked because the home that we lived in and owned was actually closer to FAU than it was to Nova. So it would have been convenient just to slide that stuff right back into the house and just keep on living life. But sometimes life's not easy, and that's okay. Things don't work out the way they're supposed to. But yeah, just buying and selling a house, moving, logistics, cars, contractual stuff, the whole nine. So it's a process, and it doesn't happen as quickly as I think we'd like it to happen, but it'll settle in. Obviously in today's age, in the climate of the transfer portal era, that window of time that you have to work is finite. I mean, there's a time when you're going to look up in the portal and be like, there's no more, we're out of the guys that we'd like to have. So there was just, our families were, obviously they'll never be second fiddle to us. But at the same time, we knew the race to get guys was paramount here. So it was kind of you put everything on the back burner until you've figured that out. Once you do, then you can start figuring out your life stuff.
So we had TA last week, and he went through the entire roster with us, and I think he did a great job. He actually helped Kevin update his players matrix. I don't know if you
Called me out publicly about the fact that some of the eligibilities were off, but
Kevin was like a kid in a candy store, actually having an official coach like look at his player matrix that he does every
Well, the
year.
big question, Mike, is how did Kevin take to coaching? Was he coachable in that instance?
I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, it is.
He absorbed it. He made the corrections and the changes in his play, and then he resubmitted the work. And I think he did a good job. Yeah, he's a young guy, but he learns quick.
I like that. Coachability is one of the best abilities, man. So I'm glad to hear that, Kevin.
I know, absolutely. And before we get into like any parts of the roster and the team, this is the time where we would usually put an embarrassing photo up of you.
Okay.
Like we did of TA last week. And we looked for them, but there is like literally no embarrassing photos of you online. You're like the most photogenic human in the world. So congratulations on that.
Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
I just want to say I was looking at photos from Detroit Mercy, from West Liberty. I was trying to find anything that was like remotely embarrassing, and
there's like nothing.
I couldn't find anything.
Well, the good news for me is I wasn't half the collegiate player that TA was. So there's probably
TA is you type in Todd Abernathy.
I was a little nervous. I know he's most famous man in the world, but you type in me. I was a little worried that you may make fun of I think my short size at Detroit Mercy was actually longer than TA's, which is hard to believe because his things were right now by his calves, but I was worried about that, but if you don't have that, I don't know that you have anything else on.
We saw the baggy jersey, but that was just the style 15 years ago, like that everyone wore that, so it's kind of expected. Did you have the tube socks?
I had the tube socks, yeah.
Todd
but I like
the tube
it. Let's just keep picking on TA. I like it better. He got the hair, he had the flow,
he had the hair, the tube socks, the headband, but he also had the sweatbands under his knees.
He did. Yeah, he did have the sweatbands under his.
He was a baller, man. I told him, I'm like,
baller,
you're the kind of guy.
Let's keep him the focal point. We'll pick fun at him, but no.
You don't want to play against Todd. Todd will make you cry.
TA's a stud. I will say this about TA. Like TA is, I've known TA through just kind of recruiting down here. Like I said, 2 years ago when you guys. When we made our run, you guys made your Final Four run. We actually closed scrimmage that year, and so I got to know him. We stayed in touch since then. But man, he's just like, you talk about such a help to us through this process. Both from family stuff for me to stuff in the office. Just logistically, he knew the way this place worked, and he just helped to expedite the process for all of us. But I mean, he's one of us. I've said this multiple times to multiple people. Like I feel like he's been a part of our staff forever, and it's just he's a phenomenal guy, phenomenal coach. I can't say enough good things about him. So we're just fortunate to have him here with us still.
I'm a big TA fan, and if there's anybody you could strive to be like in life, Todd is like the dude, right? Like awesome guy, awesome father, like loves what he does. He's a good dude.
He's a good man. I'll go to battle with him any day. So I'm super fortunate to be working here.
It's an awesome coaching staff. Speaking of coaching staff, last night I was over in I was in Delray at the Opal Grand with my wife Katie and Ken Levicka, who I don't know if you've met yet. He's the radio.
I may have, and there's so many names and faces right now. I'm trying to get everybody.
He'll be traveling with you.
Okay.
So it was me, my wife, her friend Alana, Ken Levicka, and Paul Castronovo from the radio show, right? Big 105 in the morning of the radio guy.
Yep.
And I turn around and guess who's walking in wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt, sleeveless.
Wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt.
Isaiah Austin.
Isaiah Austin. Well, I think the reason you saw Isaiah there is he'll be quick to tell you is because he got the boot. He was my roommate, and I gave him the boot. My wife was coming to town, and I was like, Z, I love you, man. But like, you already don't fit on this pull-out couch, and I'm not gonna make my poor wife try to stumble to the bathroom in the middle of the night to try to find it and then run into your foot that's hanging over the bed. We're not gonna do that. So
not a good way to start your new career and life down here in South Florida. But he was there to watch the
college guys together, and I have to say nothing else. But no, I just, to your point, Mike, I'm in all seriousness, I'm not sure if there's a better staff in the country you'd have to look hard for it probably.
So,
I
man.
just got and far more than the basketball piece. I just think we've got such versatility. Guys have, won a ton. Obviously, there's a common thread there, but we've won multiple national championships at multiple levels. But even more so, like, these guys care about the right things, and we've got good people, and we're competitive as heck. There's no doubt, but like, we want to do it the right way. And I know these guys did it that way before, Dusty and his staff. So kudos to them. And obviously, we being one of them, but we got guys that care about their families and their wives and their kids and doing it the right way. And if I couldn't be a part of that, I'd do it. So I'm really excited excited for what's ahead with us. And it's just a joy. We laugh a lot. If you can't take some heat, you shouldn't be a part of our staff, because we throw some heat at each other often. But we're tell each other the truth, and I think it's gonna be a blast.
Good.
Who's the biggest jokester on the staff? I feel like it's probably not TA. He's too nice.
It's not TA.
It can't be TA. But TA is good for a couple jokes here and there. I think
when he puts them in, though, they're amazing, right? Like when he does put one in, it's like, whoa.
He'll sneak one in there, and he's got some sarcasm that he keeps hidden. That every once in a while he puts it on display. It's pretty good. If you guys, I don't know how well you guys know Obim yet. You may have not talked to Obim. When you have the chance,
a little bit, I'm looking forward to it.
You'll never forget, because it'll be so loud. It's like his voice will resonate in your ears forever. But he is loud and hilarious. Him, Damon Parker, and Isaiah are in an office together, and they call it the frat house. But those guys are loud and hilarious. Damon kind of laughs. The other two are typically jokesters. So probably 50-50 split between Obim and Isaiah. Those two keep things light and fresh. But again, just like I mentioned, both those guys just winners in their own right. What they've accomplished is incredible. Damon is phenomenal what he does, and I could go down the line. It's really a high level group of guys.
I can't wait to see the on-court chemistry between the coaching staff and what you guys can do. And I know that we're excited for the offense, right? Because you're an offense guy, right?
Sure.
That's you're driven by like a high-speed offense based on what we've seen from like Gannon, right? And Nova. What are you looking forward to most with the roster? And what do you think about the offense?
Yeah, I mean, the truth is this. I've told Jake, it's like our best year, essentially. Whatever it's been, 15 years, like decade and a half, we've been one of the tops, if not the tops in the country in scoring at our level. And there, make no mistakes about it. I think we've gained some national recognition because of our scoring. But the truth is, like nearly a third of our points come from our defense. So, we were full court pressing, make and miss. And that's the greatest separator. We press off misses. Most people don't. And our pressing is very different. We are not like a VCU allowing the ball into the deep corner and then trying to trap from there. We're trying to keep the ball from getting in bounds. We're trying to create a completely different game. So like the truth is, unless we're going to all out press, like that side of the ball might not necessarily mimic exactly what we did, but we also were trying to be very opportunistic offensively. And we, like these guys have done here in the past, similarly, are trying to recruit guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot, make decisions, right? Guys that can see the game, analyze the game, react to it accordingly, and that guys are looking for opportunities that others may not. And then we're going to try to be creative, whether it's offensive rebounding, whether it's schemes and how we try to manufacture some offense, we're going to. But at the end of the day, like it is the Jimmies and the Joes, and we're going to try to recruit and give guys some freedom within the framework to make plays and be aggressive. And, I think if we as coaches, we call them joystick coaches, but if we as coaches think that we can manufacture every single point throughout the year, then we'd be foolish to think that we're going to win a lot of games and score a lot of points, So we need guys that can do those things. But the truth is, we want to play a fun brand of basketball. I'm an offensive guy. I want to run. I can't, sometimes I struggle watching, we've always called it for years, quote unquote, normal basketball. Right. I struggle watching the walk it up, bring it up, set it, almost to the point where if you look offensively, there's nothing going on. Guys are just standing, migrating to spots, and then standing and waiting for the coach to give them direction. We don't want to do that. We want to play fast, but with pace, under control, look for opportunities where others might not. So I know that's very vague, but the truth is, I think we're trying to recruit guys that are of a certain mold and empower them a little bit, give them some framework, but then let them go.
Coach, awesome. you mentioned the pressing, and personally, I'm a full court press all the time kind of guy, and I know that's probably not sustainable over an entire season. I realize that, but also, I guess just sort of where did that sort of mindset come from, right? The idea of, I guess, pressing off misses, as you mentioned, and playing that kind of full court press basketball. Was that from Nova, or did that sort of just develop as you saw, trying to gain that extra advantage on the court?
Sure. Yeah. Actually, halfway through my collegiate career, right after I'd met Jacobs, transferred to a place called West Liberty. It's a Division II school in Northern West Virginia, not far from my hometown. Was playing for a guy by the name of Jim Crutchfield there, and he had implemented this system. Essentially, the gist of it's this: when you watch a team at the end of the game and they're down 7 with a minute to go, what do? Right? And you watch the frantic, possessive nature of which they're playing defense. And coaches, the original thought was simply, what if we played like this for the entire game? Like we were down, 10 with a minute to go. What if we played like this for an entire game? Could you sustain it? Could you do it? Could you win with it? And the truth is, we began those years, he had kind of had things rolling there. So fast forward a little bit, I got into coaching. I stayed on at West Virginia as a grad assistant, really got my feet wet within the system. My junior year, we were like 112 a game. We led the country in scoring, I believe, all 3 years that I was there, both my junior, senior, and then my grad assistant year. But fast forward, I ended up getting an assistant job at Nova. A year into my time there, we thought there might be a coaching change the following year. They had not been as successful as they would have liked. My former boss decided to hire a vacant head coaching position. I was young at the time. I tried to go for the head coaching job. That see to me, they put me in the final 3 or but just smart enough to realize they weren't going to probably hire me in that role. So I knew Coach Crutchfield, college coach, have an interest to try to what he'd done at West Liberty at another. He made a switch and he came down. We were together for 6 seasons there at Nova. I became the associate head and he gave me just a ton of freedom. But essentially we took Nova had not been successful and we took whatever it was, team, and flipped it pretty good, kind of like the Gannon thing. And then really flipped it the following year, won a conference, won a regional, won a couple of those, and then eventually years later won a national title, went undefeated. So just I've got to give Coach all the credit in the world. He's changed the way that I look at basketball. I grew up the son of a high school coach. My dad was a Hall of Famer, but far more traditional. Like TA, he's from the state of Indiana, and he believed in just very disciplined on both ends of the court. We pressed a little bit, we zoned up and pressed a little bit, some 1-2-2 stuff, but never man, helter-skelter, constant pressure like we did at West Liberty and then at Nova and then at Gannon. So, yeah, there's only a few of us out there, and I'm very proud of what I consider to be my coaching tree. There's a handful of us. It's never crossed over to the Division I ranks, to be honest with you, yet. The question has always been, can it work at that level? And, I believe that it can. To what level a Division I don't know. And the game of college basketball has changed immensely, right? Just with the amount of people that are now involved, whether it be agents and guys trying to transition to professional careers and such. So minutes become a factor, wear and tear becomes a factor, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, what I'm getting at is I'm very proud of both West Liberty, where I came from, Nova, what we were able to create there, and then Gannon University, it gave me an opportunity to do the same thing there. So I'm proud. It's a fun style of play. I'm hoping we can implement some pieces of it for sure here. Regardless of how we play, I know it's going to be a fun brand of basketball, and I believe we're going to win.
It was an amazing year the year FAU went to the Final Four, Miami went to the Final Four, Nova won an if I feel like it South Florida basketball or Florida basketball in general, really became noticed. Like when a school like FAU goes to the Final Four, people notice that. How do you think that do you think that changed our trajectory? And do you think that's sustainable for the future?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. Actually, the year before, Jim Larrañaga was the first to ever give us a chance to scrimmage them. Obviously, it's such a unique style of play. It doesn't make a ton of sense to play against it. It's kind of a lose-lose. You know, if you win, you're supposed to win. If you lose to them, it could get ugly. And honestly, on the right day, if we're making shots, if we're making threes, we're probably not the team you want to play against. But Coach Larrañaga, gave us a chance to go down there and scrimmage those guys, and we put up a pretty darn good fight. And then the following year was the close scrimmage with FAU. But because of that, we've gotten close with those guys. You know, we got close with Dusty and his staff. And truthfully, Spoelstra has been one of our biggest, cheerleaders since the, inception of this thing. And I think he's supposed to go visit those Nova guys here again this summer. So he spent a ton of time with us, and just it's been cool because we've all kind of we started rooting for one another, truly. And it was really neat. So we followed the Heat because of it, obviously. FAU and then Miami, but it was really neat. I think it helped put South Florida exactly where it should be, which is on the map. I mean, the amount of talent, first of all, that's down here, in the grassroots scene, in the high school scene, this place is oversaturated with talent. I think there's some good coaches, but the team and the players continue to get better. So my hope would be in the future and years to come, we keep any talent right here in Boca.
The hardest thing I think that year was getting plane tickets to Houston for the Final Four, because of the fact that there's only so many plane tickets from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach to Houston. You had everybody in the world from FAU and everybody in the world from Miami trying to go to the same place at the same time. It was.
I know people who were booking connecting flights to like Cancun just to get to Houston. I was like, what are you?
You're going to connect, and that's not a bad one, right?
I mean,
that's not a bad one.
If I had to, so personally, I was able to get like one of the last tickets on the flight from Fort Lauderdale to Houston, and the last direct flight, and the celebration I did when I found out that I was like just lucky enough to time it right when Miami beat whoever they beat in the Elite. I don't remember who it was exactly, but whenever they beat them, I was able to time it like perfectly. I think of like 5 minutes afterwards. I did it, and I refreshed it probably an hour later, and the tickets were like $600, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Awesome, good for you, man!
It was an incredible time for South Florida for sure. And they said we got like $1.4 billion worth of like the equivalent of paying for advertising. So
that's what I've heard. Yeah, I mean, you guys have seen it, and I've been, I've had even a further back seat to this thing when I first got down. I think to coaches' invitation, although it's phenomenal, I think it can be better and better. And there's be like he continues to say, which is the Gonzaga Beach. I firmly believe that. And it said I couldn't be and be part of it.
Oh, you there? You froze up for a second there, Coach. Okay. Oh,
yeah. Sorry, you guys have been just a hair choppy too. I'm sorry if I was choppy. Did I finish what I said there?
It kind of glitched out. Do you want to try and reset your internet? We can pause it real quick, and you can reset your internet and see if that works. I mean, I don't know if it's
okay.
The internet.
Do you want to pause it? Go ahead and pause.
Yeah, I'll pause it real quick, and then
let's actually say it. We were back from a little bit of technical difficulty with Coach B here, but he was talking about, I guess, the transformation of FAU and the potential that we have to be a perennial powerhouse, or at least a school that's competitive every single year, and hopefully going to the NCAA tournament and making some noise. You want to just go back to say what you said? You broke up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And apologize for anything that's repetitive, but it's just, man, being down here in South Florida and kind of witnessing what I believed FAU to be years ago, almost a decade ago, to what it is now and what it's become is just astonishing, and it's a credit to what these guys have built here, the type of players that they've recruited, their ability to, I think one of the greatest feats in college basketball that nobody's talked about is their ability to keep these guys after the run. It doesn't happen, so kudos to the type of guys they had. And, kudos to the university for supporting it, and kudos to guys like you for continuing to stay behind them and just further and to try to enhance the experience for these guys and further enhance the university. But man, it's just, again, I believe in it. I wouldn't have jumped at the opportunity had I not believed in the place. So what it's become is, yes, astonishing, but what I believe this place could be is similar to the way that Jacobs and the rest of our staff feels, which is just off the charts. I think there is no ceiling. It's become a national brand because of, I believe, the run that the team made. But I see no reason why sustained success is not in our future. So I'm here for it. I'm so humbled and just honored to be here. And I really deeply in my fabric of my being believe in the place. So I couldn't be more happy to be here.
I think it's really cool, and I think it's just another example of how you don't need the biggest, best facilities to be successful, right? You need heart, and you need people who can play ball and are talented and can be developed into just a team that doesn't give up and wants to play, right? We don't have, what was our gym hold, 3,000 people on, We don't have a practice facility. Our practice facility is tucked upstairs between some suites with a couple of half court baskets, and our weight rooms are all over the place. We use the fitness center and the Oxley or wherever else. And we don't have an NBA basketball arena or an on-campus O-Dome or whatever, right? We have the Ellie.
Sure.
And you know what? That's us. That's our identity. And you know what? We went to we have a Final Four banner hanging there.
Sure.
We have a conference championship trophy there. It just proves that, like, you can be an underdog and still be successful.
Yeah, I love it. I love what they've done, and I love what they've done it with. And again, like, Gonzaga made the same run and didn't have practice facility at the time. It'll continue to get more and more competitive. Obviously, the change of league has surely changed some things, right? Competitively, we always want to continue to be better, strive to be better, strive to get better players, strive to have better facilities and whatnot. But yeah, I think we're at our core, our staff's blue collar, Mike. There's no doubt about it. I think we probably parallel what this university is about as well. But at the same time, I think we realize from a recruiting standpoint, as a recruiter myself, how competitive it is, and the better the practice facility is, the nicer that the arena is, the nicer university is. The more that's going on around here, the more support we have. Obviously, NIL has become a huge factor in this thing, but the more and better it is, the easier it makes our jobs, and I think the more sustainable this thing is. So I'm 1,000% with you, and at the same time, continuing to strive to kind of have the vision I think you guys have, which is, can it be better? Can we continue to make it better and even more sustainable?
I know that Owl Nation, it definitely is behind the basketball and football and everything that FAU and Brian White has been able to do as the athletic director over the past 6 years or so now.
It's incredible. Not to interrupt you, Mike, I apologize, but I would say this, for what Brian and company have done here is just incredible and should be applauded. I think their vision's similar. Why can't this be? You look around, drive around Boca, drive around South Florida. We're, whether it's, we've got 3 major airports right here in our backyard. We've got everything you could ever want. I just saw today the football stadium is the closest collegiate football stadium to an ocean in the country, I guess. It's an awesome stat, an awesome fact. But as this, I know we're building dorms. As this university continues to grow, I'm not sure it has a ceiling. We talk about it often with recruits, and their upside, and we're trying to project. And I'm not sure that this place has a ceiling. We've got the land. We've got such a philanthropic area in Boca. We've got a community that supports it. I mean, it's just off the charts. So, but it's what I've always said to my wife. She's asked me often, what's your goal? What's your end goal? And for me, I just want to coach basketball, and I want to have an impact on guys, truly, like my father did, and I like the college level. I think it's such an impressionable level. I love the competition of this level. But what I've always said is I want to be at a place where they care about basketball. When I got to Gannon University, they deeply cared about basketball. We were going to sell out season tickets this year, And when you look at this place, there is a deep care about basketball. There is a community here. Boca is a community. I think that's, if I would say one thing, my biggest takeaway from being here for what it's been just a couple months has been just the supreme care from this community. It feels like a community. You feel it. You feel people genuinely, like yourself, right, Mike, like care about not just the program and the university, but they care about us. They care about our staff. They care about our players, our student athletes, and makes you feel good, as a human. So it's just awesome to be supported. And I hope they love us that much if we drop a couple games, but we'll just try we'll try to just win every one, so that never happens. We never get to find out.
As long as they're not at home, I think you'll be okay.
Okay. If you're ever going to drop one, drop it on the road. Noted.
Yeah, drop it on the road.
Now,
dude,
Coach, I do really just want to ask, right? Like, because you mentioned you're a recruiter, and I think that's what everyone has said, right? Because reading through some of the staff website profiles are all like relentless recruiter and all the buzzwords in front of recruiter. And obviously you recruited down here before, and you mentioned that it's a hotbed, maybe not as much as like football is down here, but there is a ton of talent down here. How much did your, I guess, time at Nova help you transitioning into this role? Having that past relationship with coaches down here, and not having to sort of learn the lay of the land as much as being able to dive in head first as much as possible.
Sure, it's a great question. You get such a head start. This is become home for me. And I've been here long enough now where South Florida's home, Florida's home. All the relationships I had, I've maintained throughout the years. And truthfully, some of the best players we've ever got were from Florida, and many of them were guys that were recruited from the state. I could name off a bunch of them. But I think what I'm most proud of is recruiting guys not just from the state of Florida, but guys that were had been maybe overlooked a bit, but they had the right DNA and makeup to be good in what we did, right? So signing guys like, there was a young guy named Ryan Davis down the road that we signed from Martin County High School, just up the road, north on this coast. And Ryan had a relentless motor and a relentless just tenacity about him. And, he was a huge reason why we won a national championship. He was just a freshman for us, and he'll be the leader of that program for years to come. And so just, you could, throughout the state, it is just saturated with talent. It's a fun state to recruit because you can walk into any high school gym and there may not be the skill level that you want to see, but boy, you're going to see some athletes. And so I think it's fun in terms of projecting what could this guy be, if with just some work and maybe some more coaching, what could this guy be? So it's been a seamless transition in that sense. So many of my close friends and some of our families here too. So for me, again, such a blessing to be with Jacobs, and a guy that has been a great friend for a lot of years, but a part of this staff. I think the team we put together is one that's going to be fun to watch and fun to coach. And then to be back in South Florida, just down the road from where we were with all our friends and family, is just such a blessing.
Best place in the world to live. It really is.
I wouldn't argue it, man. I wouldn't argue it. So
I wouldn't want to move for anything, man. I love living east. I know you're looking for houses, like you're looking.
Sure.
Yeah,
I do.
It's an incredible place to live, and it's an awesome destination. I don't see why anyone wouldn't want to come. Play basketball here.
Nah, I'm with you, man. My wife just flew in I've seen her only a couple times, unfortunately, in the last couple months, but she flew in the other night and went out to dinner, and she just was like, I couldn't imagine being in a better place. This is just, she's like, it's just, I missed it. I missed the weather. I missed it's
a lot different
lifestyle. It is different than Erie, and I don't want to knock Erie because
I'm from New Jersey. I get it. Like it's different. Would I want to go back there? To visit, I got some family, but
Christmas was awesome. It was just a phenomenal year. And again, like not knocking them, but being able to be around my family like we were for a year. My parents, my in-laws were at every game. I had kids that I went to high school with, I hadn't seen since high school, that were at our games. Being able to be in a place that cares about it like Gannon does was just so cool. But yeah, we are happy to be here for sure. We went to a phenomenal Mexican restaurant the other night.
I was about to ask you where you went. Where'd you go?
Is it called Casa Mia?
The one on Airport Road there?
No.
Casa Mia. Deerfield. The one in Deerfield.
Unbelievable.
By the Cove. Yeah, I know the owner.
I almost hesitate to give it out on this because I'm afraid people will hear about it and then I'll go to get a table. I mean, it was.
He owns 3 restaurants. He owns one in Boca too, right at 20th Street. You know where Cannoli Kitchen is there?
Yeah.
Senor Burrito, same owner.
Okay. Yeah.
He owns the one in Delray. His name's Emilio, and shout out to Emilio. When my funny story, my college job while I was in college, my college job. Everyone had a college job. You're playing basketball. Mine was working at a hardware store. I worked at the hardware store in town. It's called Belzer's. It's on Federal Highway. You probably saw it driving up and down. It's a little hardware store at 32nd Street and Federal, a little mom and pop shop. But Emilio, the owner of Senor Burrito, was one of my customers there regularly all the time. So he would come in to buy all this stuff to make his sinks work and, change light bulbs and stuff. So I got to him, and he would bring like chips and salsa and stuff for me and the staff when I was in college. But, his food.
That's quite the hookup. Shout out to Emilio because that was 5 stars. We'll be back.
The place is great. Where else you go? Did you find pizza yet in Boca? What's your pizza?
We went there. No pizza. We haven't done pizza yet. We did staying in Deerfield. So we did one of the little kind of touristy spots on the beach there. Oceans 234, I think it's called, or something like that.
Yeah. Good. Whales Rib. Whales Rib is awesome.
It was good. I've been to Whales Rib. Yeah, but not this time around. But I've been to Whales Rib. We kind of had our Fort Lauderdale spot. So I'm starting to get familiar with the Boca area, and we're gonna find our Boca spots. We're kind of foodies, so yeah, man. We'll take all the recommendations though, wherever you guys got. You guys are 1 for 1. You threw the Casa Maya or Mia.
Me and Katie, we're it's just me and her, no kids, so we're eating out all the time. So you know the drill. So we got to get together.
Well, I'll pick your brain, and we'll meet up at a spot. That'll be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking forward to it.
Kevin, you're invited too.
Oh yes, I was just gonna sit back here and go, man. You know what? I'm also a foodie. So
poor guy.
I'll just sit back and
no, Kevin, you're invited too.
Take
man.
notes. I guess because you had mentioned that you and Coach Jacobs had known each other for, I think you had mentioned 15 years, and I don't think we ever got the story. So how'd you two meet, and sort of how was that relationship grown from, I guess, 15 years ago to now?
Yeah, I was playing at the University of Detroit Mercy, and went after the summer of my freshman year, went on an Athletes in Action trip, a travel team to China. Played a couple weeks in China with a group of guys. John at the time was working at AIA, and so we had kind of got to know each other there. He coached a team the following year that I had went back, and a buddy of mine that had went on the trip played in the training camp. So we decided to go back, and we just we started a friendship, and we've got kind of a circle of friends. He and I have a couple really good close buddies that are in our inner circle. And so, yeah, we just developed a relationship over time. He stayed in it. I stayed in it. And that was one of our friend circles. And he's just been really good to me. He's a guy that I consider to be a mentor. A lot of his, just the way he lives his life, he's an impressive guy. His face impressive. The way he kind of husband he is impressive. The kind of father he is impressive. The way he cares about his guys is second to none. So, when my wife asked me the question, do you want to do this? My simple answer was, he's as good of a man as I know, and he's as good of a basketball coach as I know. So those two things made the decision pretty simple to join a guy like that. That's the kind of guy you want to be in the corner with. So he's been a great friend to me. He flew way out of his way to come be at my wedding. But again, it just kind of shows the type of dude that he is. So he's been a great friend to me. We share a lot of the same, I think, thoughts and feelings about life off the court. And I think we also share in a lot of our feel for the game of basketball, how it should be played, and the nuances of it. So I think it's a good partnership, and he's a good man, and I'm happy to be here with him, and I can't wait to watch him.
I feel like you're right. I feel like the staff, at least with the ones I've met so far and got to know, like you, and I know TA and John, your values all align very, very much.
Yeah. I mean, it feels very, the flow and the feel, it was natural from the second we all got together. Yep. So yeah, we're all fairly like-minded, and makes for a kind of a good marriage, I guess, with all of us.
So we did that NIL event at the Haggerty Garage a few weeks ago. That was fun, right?
It's a blast. Yeah.
I mentioned he had a race car.
He does.
Have you seen it?
I've not seen it. I've heard a lot about it. I'm looking forward to getting it down here, and whether he lets me or not, I'm going to find a way to test drive the thing. So I will be seeing it. I have yet to see it, but
I too have a fast car.
What do you have?
I have a Cadillac ATS-V.
Okay.
Pushing about 660 horsepower right now.
Okay, impressive.
Speed manual. My question for you, does John double clutch or does he granny shift?
You know, I don't know. I don't know a ton of I don't know a ton, and I don't want to give out John's business. I'm gonna save that question for John.
Yeah, well, we'll ask him.
But I know the other night we had a blast at the event, and what a beautiful garage, some crazy cars, and just some great company there. So I'm appreciative.
We raised some good money. We raised some good money that night too, right?
We did raise some good money. There's some very caring and considerate people in this community, man. I was blown away by it, and I had a blast myself. I did.
Yeah, good.
Coach, I want to end this off with, I wrote a story probably last summer about football coaches moving, right, and moving across the country. And I think the common thread that they all mentioned, you've mentioned a few times, is how important the coach's wife is. And so, I do just want to give you an opportunity to shout her out and how much of a help she's been in this move from Pennsylvania to, the sunny shores of Boca Raton. And I guess no more snow during the winter probably helps too.
Yeah, she's probably. Well, I appreciate you asking the question, Kevin, and it's a little bit of a ironic question because my wife and I have talked about this often. My wife is not a coach's wife now. She is. She's not your typical coach's wife, I would say. Where she doesn't necessarily take that title on. She couldn't be any more supportive of me. She played herself. We actually we have that common thread. She played in high school at Akron St. Vincent St. Mary, home of LeBron, and she played collegiately at Lake Erie College, was a good college player, loves basketball, but she went to school to get her degree, and she cared mostly about academics, and she's done really well for herself in the business world, and she's a businesswoman, and she's continued to climb the ladder, and she's got her own things going. She doesn't have enough time to worry about me and what I got going on. So don't get me wrong, man. She'll be at every game that she can be, and she'll be supportive as heck and love on our guys like crazy. But my wife she is not a homebody, and she isn't the cook, clean, do the laundry. That's not her, and she'll be the first to tell you that. So she'll throw you off a little bit if you ask that question. She may take just a hair of offense to it, but I like to joke often. But no, real quickly, my wife's name's Jacqueline, and she is, man, my best friend and our biggest supporter. Like I could not have done the move up to Gannon without her. I couldn't have done what we've just done without her, and we're still in the process of doing without her. I just couldn't do it. And she just, so it's been so much fun to go on the ride alongside with her. And I know that she does enjoy it and has been our biggest fan at all of our stops. And she's a champ herself. So she was there at the national championship, and she was the first person I was seeking out outside my parents and my brother. So she just been, man, I couldn't have done it without her. I still couldn't do it without her. And I'm so appreciative of her, but I'm glad that she's got her own thing going, so she doesn't have to listen to all my whining about what's going on or what's not going on with our job, so.
I guess there's probably no better place to end it. Coach Fee, appreciate it a bunch for hopping on and joining.
Awesome.
And of course, no better way to end it than go Owls.
Go Owls, boys. Hey, again, real last thing, I'll just say, so appreciative of both you guys, but just the entire community for the way they've supported and embraced us. Off the charts. I'm so excited to be here. I know our staff feels the exact same way. So thank you again, and go Owls, okay?
Go Owls. Thanks, Jordan.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, brothers.
Bye-bye.